Hello, hello. Just a quick note. Several people commented on the German commentary from the German TV. They wanted to have an English summary of the CAMPI FLEGREI situation. Well, we're a few days after the events now. It happened on 20th to 21st, but let me show you a few things. Just a quick summary. So here we have the map from the INGV, the Istituto Nazionale Geofisica e Vulcanologia, the national authority for monitoring these volcanoes, and here we have the CAMPI FLEGREI map. Let me just point out this is the Gulf of Puzioli, and there we have also the Monte Nuevo. This is the latest eruption here, erupted in 1538. And as you can see, the area is clustered with craters, and some people refer to it as a supervolcano because it had some larger eruptions. But this is several tens of thousands of years ago, and apart from the 1538 eruption, there wasn't too much. But the area experiences uplift and deflation for quite some time, and this is going on since the 50s. So here's a little bit of geology put on, and there you see the outline of the entire area. Much of it is submarine, actually, and there is activity underwater, but there's also the Pozzuoli fields, and there we have fumarole activity. This is very famous. There's some videos on the channel as well. I don't need to go there, but then the big question now is what is actually happening underneath there, and the reality is that we had some earthquakes here. This is from INGV again, and the earthquakes come from, well, an area about 2, maybe up to 3.5 kilometers under the big caldera, and they're right in the marginal area of it, and they have of course shaken up the area. About 50 families have been evacuated, and there is a prison that was evacuated as well because of structural problems in connection with the earthquakes. Let me quickly show you now. So sorry, I wanted to start with this. So this is a paper by some Italian colleagues, and this is from 2018, I think. And there we see that there's a reservoir that has a seismic anomaly underneath, and it bulges up and it presses against what's likely an impermeable horizon, and this is fracturing this. This is where the stars and the crackles are. This is where the earthquakes happen. And then above there is a fluid saturated system, and this is inside the caldera basin. This is where we have a lot of hydrothermal fluids circulating. Now here's the depth scale. So we are about 2 kilometers with this strange cap rock, if you will, and this is where the cracking happens, and this is most likely the source of the earthquakes that happened a few days ago. Now, this was a very strong earthquake, 4.4 according to INGV, and 4.4 is pretty shaky. Things fly off the shelves at that point. And one of the big discussions is it just fluids that build this up, or is there actually magma? Now here, this deep body, the authors have been very careful here. They haven't really said exactly what it is, and there is speculation. This is a paper by Kilburn and others, and here we look at the upper part. There's seismic activity, and this is again with the main transition between the upper sedimentary infill and the deeper part at about 2 to 3 kilometers. Now, when we go deeper, here is where it gets a bit speculative. There's a lot of gas coming from a much deeper reservoir, and I go all the way down this deeper reservoir where we have some magma. It's about 8.5 kilometers deep, and from that, gas is certainly rising up, and this is a main source of the gas and the fluids that bulging up the caldera. In addition, there's limestone sitting underneath, and when you heat limestone, it liberates CO2 as well. This is something a lot of people don't want to realize or accept, but the CO2 is partly from the magma, but partly also from the bedrock. There may be some magma, and the authors here are showing a little bit of potentially sills, but we have no indication for deep magma ascent. There was no deep earthquakes coming up. All the earthquakes were above here at 3.5, and that really limits our potential for magma intrusions at this particular point. So let me bring you this, and here we have a depth correlation. This is again from colleagues at INGV, and there we see the earthquakes at about 2 kilometers. Let me bring the cursor in, about 2 kilometers here with a major center, and here a little bit deeper, maybe about 3, and that's about that. There is nothing much deeper. They're smaller in the deeper area, meaning there is no fresh magma rising up, and I think this is the key explanation for the situation right now. We have the Phlegreian fields rising up and falling down again on the basis of this, and therefore we don't really have to expect a new super eruption as some sources claim and some channels on YouTube. That would be very awkward. If at all, a small eruption, maybe a gas-driven one, may be something for the future, in the near future, but we have no indication. The earthquakes have stopped now, the swarm is over, and therefore I think we're out of the woods, for now at least, for the moment. But of course, it's a large volcanic system, and over the next decades, well, things will continue. There will be rising and falling of the ground, and magma may eventually rise up, but we'll see that in the seismics quite some time ahead. Okay, thank you very much, and all the very best.